To understand what happened, I gotta take you back. I grew up here, raised by my mom, Diane, and my dad, Robert. They were my everything. Mom was always there, baking cookies for school, cheering at my soccer games, saving every little thing I ever made in a scrapbook. Dad was quieter, a mechanic who taught me how to fix cars and stand up for myself. We weren't fancy, but we were close. I never doubted that. Not once. But there was something I didn't know. A secret they kept from me my whole life. And it started way before I was born. When I was 25, Dad passed away. It wrecked me. He was my rock, the guy I went to for everything. Mom took it hard too, but she got distant. She'd sit for hours with old photos, her eyes somewhere else. I thought it was just her way of grieving. I was busy, running my auto shop, falling in love with Lila, planning our life together. I didn't notice how Mom's hands shook when she talked about Dad, or how she'd shut down when I asked about old family stuff. A few months before the wedding, things got weird. Lila and I were deep in planning, picking venues, tasting cakes, arguing over music. Mom was helping, but she wasn't herself. She seemed distracted, like she was carrying something heavy. One night, I stopped by her house to drop off some invitations. She was at the kitchen table, a glass of wine in her hand, staring at this old Polaroid of a woman I didn't recognize. "Mom, who's that?" I asked, leaning over. She jumped, nearly spilling her drink. "Just an old friend," she said, shoving the photo away. Her voice was off, but I didn't push. I had a wedding to plan, a business to run. I let it go. Man, I wish I hadn't. The wedding day was magic. Lila walked down the aisle, and I swear my heart stopped. We said our vows, put on the rings, and everyone cheered. The reception was everything we dreamed, dancing, laughing, toasts that made us cry. But as the night went on, I noticed something. Mom wasn't there. My stomach dropped. She'd been at the ceremony, looking so proud in her blue dress, but now? Gone. No goodbye, no text. I asked Lila, my friends, even the caterer. Nobody saw her leave. I tried to tell myself she wasn't feeling well, that she went home to rest. But I knew something wasn't right. The next morning, I drove to her house, still in my wrinkled tux shirt. I was scared, confused, a little angry. I found her on the couch, holding that Polaroid, her eyes red like she'd been crying all night. "Mom, what happened? Why didn't you stay for the reception? Why didn't you come to the party?" She looked at me, her face so pale, and said something I'll never forget. "Because you didn't invite your real mother." I froze. My mind went blank. Real mother? What was she talking about? She's my mom. She raised me, loved me, was there for every moment of my life. But the way she looked at me, broken, guilty, I knew this was real. Her hands were shaking as she handed me the Polaroid. It was a woman, young, with my eyes and my smile. "This is Sarah," Mom said, her voice cracking. "Your biological mother." I couldn't process it. My whole life felt like a lie. Mom, Diane, started talking and it all came pouring out. 30 years ago, my dad was married to Sarah. They were in love, but things got rough. Dad worked late at the garage and Sarah felt alone. Then Diane, Dad's old friend, came into the picture. She'd always had feelings for him. One night, after a fight with Sarah, Dad and Diane, they crossed a line. An affair that broke everything. Sarah got pregnant with me. Dad was excited, but their marriage was already crumbling. When Sarah found out about Diane, she was crushed. She left Dad, moved across the country, and had me. But she wasn't ready to be a mom, not after losing everything. So, she gave me to Dad and Diane, who got married after the divorce. Diane raised me like her own, and Sarah was gone. They swore they'd never tell me. I sat there, holding that photo, feeling like the ground was gone. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. Diane was crying, saying she wanted to protect me, to give me a good life. She loved me like I was hers, because to her, I was. But when Dad died, the guilt started eating her up. Watching me plan my wedding, it broke her. She couldn't keep it secret anymore. And Sarah? Diane had found her a year ago. Sarah was living a quiet life, never remarried, still carrying the pain of giving me up. Diane sent her a wedding invitation, not expecting her to come. But she did. Sarah stood at the back of the church, watching me marry Lila, crying her eyes out. She left before the reception, too afraid to face me. I was so angry. At Diane, at Dad, at Sarah. My dad was gone, my mom wasn't my mom, and my real mom was at my wedding, and I didn't even know. I walked out, barely able to breathe. 4 weeks, I couldn't think straight. But I needed answers. I tracked Sarah down. We met at a cafe and it was weird. She was nervous, I was on edge. But we talked, and I saw myself in her. The way she laughed, how she stirred her coffee. She told me about her life, how she's never stopped thinking about me. It's not like the movies. I don't call Sarah, Mom, or invite her over for dinner. But we text sometimes, trying to build something. Diane and I? It's hard. I love her, but the lie hurts. We're talking, though, working through it with Lila's help. Lila's my anchor, reminding me that family's not just about blood, it's about who stays, who fights for you, even when it's messy. I'm still figuring it out. 2 moms, 2 truths, 2 pieces of who I am. It's not easy, but I'm learning that love can survive lies, that forgiveness is something you choose. And maybe, just maybe, the hardest truths can lead to something real. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've got a family secret that changed your life, share it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Hit that like button if this hit you in the heart, and subscribe if you want more stories like mine. Until next time, keep searching for your truth, no matter how hard it is.